I'm going to show you how to make a caramel and turn it into a praline. Now in my pan here I've got some caster sugar and I'm melting it over a high heat. You can see that it started to melt at the edges and become a bit golden. Now the important thing when making a caramel like this is not to get your spoon in at the moment, otherwise you end up with a wooden spoon stuck with caramel. So you need to shake the pan a little to disperse the sugar and make sure that it's all melting evenly. But remember to be careful because this is really hot sugar. You can see I'm getting some nice golden colour on there. This is a really good non-stick pan as well, so when it comes to the end, when I want to turn out my caramel, it's all going to come out really nice and easily. Now the thing to do when you're making a caramel like this is to have all your equipment ready at the start because it moves quite quickly. So I've got my baking tray here which I've greased with a little bit of oil, and that's ready for at the end when I want to tip my caramel and my praline out onto it. And I've got a palette knife here, again also greased with a little bit of oil, just so if I need to smooth out my praline or anything like that, I'm ready to go. Now I'm nearly ready to go with my sugar, so at this stage I'm going to tip my nuts in. Now I haven't browned these nuts to begin with, I'm just going to do it in the pan. It's so hot that they're going to toast in there, so it just cuts out a stage for you. Again, just gently swirl that around. I want to get all my nuts coated on both sides and get that last little bit of sugar melted. You can see I've got a nice really golden colour here. Now if your caramel's nice and dark and golden already and a little bit of sugar hasn't melted, just lift the pan off the heat like I'm doing. That'll just slow it down and give you a chance to work some of that sugar in. Now, as I said, you don't really want to get a spoon in when you're mixing, but at the end, if you need to, just to get everything coated together, use a metal spoon that again you've oiled a little bit, which should stop the sugar sticking to it. And if any sugar sticks to anything, you just need to put it in some hot water and let it melt off. So I've just got one last little bit of sugar to melt. I've got a really good colour on this. This is going to be a really nice flavour when it's cooled and hardened. My nuts are golden and toasted, so at this stage I'm ready to tip my praline out. So be very careful, this is very hot. Taking it over to my baking sheet and I'm going to just gently, carefully tip this out, covering all my nuts with that lovely sugary caramel. And then at this stage I'm going to just spread my nuts out a little bit with my palette knife so they're evenly through the caramel. Once you've done this, don't touch it, it's incredibly hot. You need to wait for this to cool and harden. I'd leave it for about an hour or so. You don't want to run the risk of getting burnt when you touch it, so just leave it in a cool place and it's going to become really hard and brittle. And then what you can do is use it however you want. So I've broken some into some shards that I've got here. I literally just snap this with my hand once it had cooled. Otherwise get your rolling pin in and give it a bit of a bash on the tray. Now it should come off easily because you've oiled your baking sheet. It literally just peels off. So I've got these beautiful shards like this of golden hard caramel with nice toasted nuts. And I'd use this if I was making, say I was making a creme brulee or something like that and I didn't want to do my sugar at the last minute because I had guests or something. Pop a couple of shards of this on the top. It looks really nice and you get the crunch. The other thing you can do is I've whizzed some of it up in a food processor. Literally, again, just broken it into pieces, popped it in a food processor until I get this kind of praline caramel crumb. This is the sort of thing I'd used if I wanted to make praline flavoured ice cream. So I'd fold this through the custard, or you can use this just to sprinkle over desserts, maybe over a nice pavlova with cream if you wanted a bit of an extra crunch. So that's how you melt sugar to make a caramel and turn it into a nutty praline.